On the bustling training grounds of the Galactic Fleet Academy, a lone human cadet stood out among the sea of alien recruits. Despite his unassuming frame, Terran-born Jackson K possessed a quiet determination that would soon shatter all expectations. As the grueling regimen of the Academy commenced, Jackson observed his fellow cadets with a keen eye. The majority were members of species native to the civilized core worlds: Vosians, Relantians, Crixans, and more. Each had undergone extensive pre-training to prepare them for the rigors of Galactic Fleet service. Yet Jackson couldn't help but notice subtle weaknesses in their techniques, small gaps in their defenses that his human instincts urged him to exploit. When the first round of combat simulations began, Jackson waited patiently, watching as his alien counterparts struggled to keep pace with the relentless onslaught of virtual enemies. Their movements were calculated, each step carefully planned, but lacking the spontaneity and split-second adaptability that came so naturally to the human. As the simulation reached its climax, Jackson sprung into action. With reflexes honed by a lifetime of Terran-style martial arts, he weaved through the virtual battlefield, his lithe frame darting between obstacles and firing with pinpoint accuracy. His alien squadmates gaped in astonishment as the human cadet single-handedly turned the tide of the battle, neutralizing targets they had failed to even detect. The instructors, a seasoned cadre of veteran Galactic Fleet officers, exchanged puzzled glances as they analyzed the simulation data. The human's performance was nothing short of astounding. His marksmanship, agility, and tactical acumen exceeded even their most elite trainees. Murmurs rippled through the observation deck, and Jackson found himself the subject of newfound scrutiny. In the days that followed, the human cadet continued to shatter expectations. Where his alien peers struggled to keep up with the grueling physical regimen, Jackson excelled. He scaled towering walls with ease, navigated treacherous obstacle courses with feline grace, and endured arduous survival exercises that left even the most robust species exhausted. The alien surgeons, once dismissive of the human's chances, now found themselves captivated by Jackson's unwavering determination. They observed with growing unease as the Terran cadet's skills surpassed their own prodigies, one by one. Jackson's mastery of combat tactics, his intuitive grasp of squad dynamics, and his uncanny ability to anticipate the enemy's moves left the seasoned instructors with a sense of unease. Yet, amidst this growing tension, Jackson remained humble and focused. He did not seek to draw attention to himself, nor did he engage in the competitive posturing that often defined the Academy's social hierarchy. Instead, the human cadet approached each challenge with a quiet intensity, driven by an inner fire that burned brighter with every obstacle overcome. As the weeks turned to months, Jackson's reputation began to spread through the Academy's corridors. Whispers of the Deathworlder Cadet reached the ears of the higher echelons of the Galactic Fleet, sparking a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. For the Terran homeworld, long viewed as a backwater of the known galaxy, had earned a notorious reputation. A death world where the very air and environment conspired to extinguish the lives of the unwary. The alien surgeons, once dismissive of the human's chances, now found themselves captivated by Jackson's unwavering determination. They observed with growing unease as the Terran cadet's skills surpassed their own prodigies, one by one. Jackson's mastery of combat tactics, his intuitive grasp of squad dynamics, and his uncanny ability to anticipate the enemy's moves left the seasoned instructors with a sense of unease. Yet, amidst this growing tension, Jackson remained humble and focused. He did not seek to draw attention to himself, nor did he engage in the competitive posturing that often defined the Academy's social hierarchy. Instead, the human cadet approached each challenge with a quiet intensity, driven by an inner fire that burned brighter with every obstacle overcome. As the weeks turned to months, Jackson's reputation began to spread through the Academy's corridors. Whispers of the Deathworlder Cadet reached the ears of the higher echelons of the Galactic Fleet, sparking a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. For the Terran homeworld, long viewed as a backwater of the known galaxy, had earned a notorious reputation, a death world where the very air and environment conspired to extinguish the lives of the unwary. As the training regimen intensified, Jackson's alien surgeons watched in growing disbelief. The humans' reflexes, stamina, and adaptability exceeded even their most seasoned cadets. Where others faltered, Jackson excelled, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible for his species. Sergeant Vex, a grizzled Crixan veteran with decades of Galactic fleet experience, found himself increasingly perplexed by the human cadet. He had overseen the training of countless recruits from across the galaxy, yet none had ever displayed the raw physical prowess that Jackson effortlessly demonstrated. During the close-quarters combat drills, Jackson moved with a fluidity that defied logic. His strikes, perfectly timed and delivered with devastating precision, left his sparring partners reeling. The Crixan sergeant observed, his reptilian eyes narrowed in concentration as the human cadet seamlessly transitioned between defensive maneuvers and counterattacks, anticipating his opponent's moves with an almost prescient accuracy. "Impossible," Vex muttered under his breath, his thick talons gripping the railing of the observation deck. No Terran should possess such capabilities. Yet the evidence was undeniable. As the training progressed, Jackson continued to shatter records and pushed the limits of what was considered possible. He scaled towering obstacle courses with the agility of a feline predator, raced through treacherous terrain with the endurance of a seasoned explorer, and mastered the operation of advanced galactic fleet technology with a speed that left the instructors awestruck. Sergeant Vex was not the only one struggling to comprehend the human cadet's abilities. Across the training grounds, his fellow surgeons found themselves equally bewildered, their once firm convictions about the limitations of the Terran species slowly crumbling. Sergeant Relia, a stern Vosian drill instructor, had long prided herself on her ability to identify and cultivate the latent talents of her charges. Yet, as she watched Jackson effortlessly outmaneuver her most promising cadets, she found herself questioning the very foundations of her training methods. "There must be some explanation," she muttered, her brow furrowed in deep contemplation. "No single species can possess such a wide array of superior capabilities." The other surgeons nodded in agreement, their minds racing to find a rational explanation for the human cadet's exceptional performance. Was it a fluke, a statistical anomaly that would soon be corrected? Or was there something more profound at play? A hidden potential within the Terran species that had been grossly underestimated. As the weeks turned to months, Jackson's accomplishments continued to astound and unsettle his alien instructors. His skills in marksmanship, hand-to-hand combat, and tactical acumen soon surpassed even the most elite cadets, earning him the grudging respect and envy of his peers. Yet even as Jackson's reputation grew, he remained humble and focused, treating each challenge with the same quiet determination that had defined his journey thus far. He did not seek to flaunt his abilities or draw unnecessary attention to himself, a fact that only served to further confound the bewildered surgeons. "This human is no ordinary cadet," Sergeant Vex mused, his talons drumming thoughtfully against the observation deck railing. "He possesses a level of aptitude that defies all logic. I must uncover the truth behind his exceptional capabilities." With a resolute nod, the Crixan sergeant turned to his fellow instructors, his eyes gleaming with a newfound sense of purpose. For the first time since Jackson's arrival, the alien surgeons found themselves united in a common goal: to understand the true nature of the Deathworlder Cadet and the implications his existence held for the Galactic fleet. Word of Jackson's prowess spread quickly through the academy. His fellow cadets, both human and alien, watched in awe as he effortlessly navigated the most grueling simulations and physical challenges. The surgeons, once skeptical of the Terran's abilities, now found themselves grappling with a new reality. As the training exercises intensified, Jackson's reputation continued to grow, drawing the attention of not just his instructors, but the entire cadet cohort. Whispers of the Deathworlder Cadet echoed through the dormitories and mess halls, sparking a mixture of admiration, envy, and trepidation. Relia, the stern Vosgian sergeant, found herself increasingly troubled by the situation. Though she had initially dismissed Jackson's abilities as a fluke, the human cadet's consistent and exceptional performance had forced her to reconsider her stance. "There must be some explanation," she murmured, poring over the detailed records of Jackson's training sessions. "No single species can be this dominant." Sergeant Vex, the grizzled Crixan veteran, shared Raylia's growing sense of unease. He had spent decades training the finest cadets the Galactic Fleet had to offer, yet none had ever come close to matching Jackson's raw capabilities. "This human defies all logic," Vex growled, his talons drumming against the observation deck railing. His reflexes, his endurance, his tactical acumen, it's as if he was engineered for war. The other surgeons nodded in agreement, their faces etched with a mixture of awe and trepidation. They had never encountered a species that could so effortlessly surpass the established boundaries of physical and mental performance. The implications were staggering, and they found themselves grappling with a very real sense of unease. As the training exercises continued, Jackson's alien squadmates found themselves both captivated and intimidated by the human cadet's abilities. During joint species team drills, they watched in stunned silence as Jackson seamlessly adapted to their strengths and weaknesses, coordinating their efforts with a level of tactical insight that belied his relative inexperience. "How can he do this?" whispered Cadet Rel, a young Relantian whose previous squad had been thoroughly outmatched by Jackson's team. "He moves with such precision, such focus. It's as if he can anticipate our every move." Cadet Rel's sentiments were echoed by his fellow cadets, both human and alien. They had grown accustomed to the rigid hierarchies and strict specializations that defined the Galactic Fleet training regimen, but Jackson's performance had shattered those expectations. The human cadet effortlessly traversed the boundaries between combat roles, displaying mastery in areas that were traditionally the domain of specific species. This newfound versatility only added to the growing sense of unease that permeated the academy. The alien cadets, once confident in their own abilities, now found themselves questioning the very foundations of their training. If a single human could excel in areas traditionally dominated by their species, what did that mean for the delicate balance of power within the Galactic Fleet? The instructors, once skeptical of Jackson's abilities, now found themselves consumed by a burning curiosity. They pored over his medical records, analyzed his genetic profile, and even conducted extensive physical and psychological evaluations, all in a desperate attempt to uncover the secrets behind the human cadet's exceptional performance. Yet, despite their efforts, the answers remained elusive. Jackson's test results were flawless, his physiology within the normal parameters for a Terran. There were no obvious genetic or biological anomalies that could account for his superhuman capabilities. As the weeks turned to months, the Academy found itself in a state of growing unease. The once confident alien cadets now eyed their human counterparts with a mixture of awe and trepidation, while the instructors grappled with the unsettling realization that their preconceptions about the limitations of the Terran species had been utterly shattered. "If this is what a single human cadet can achieve," Sergeant Vex murmured, his piercing gaze fixed on Jackson as he effortlessly navigated the latest simulation, "then what might an entire battalion of Deathworlders be capable of?" Jackson's rise through the ranks accelerated, and soon he found himself leading joint species squads in high-stakes training exercises. His ability to coordinate diverse teams and adapt to changing battlefield conditions left the seasoned instructors speechless. They had never witnessed a cadet of any species with such an exceptional aptitude for leadership and strategy. As the Academy's training program moved into its final stages, Sergeant Vex and his fellow instructors were faced with a daunting task: assembling the most elite squads for the ultimate challenge, a simulated assault on a heavily fortified enemy stronghold. Traditionally, these exercises were dominated by the most skilled cadets from the core species of the Galactic Fleet, the Vosgians, Relantians, and Crixans. Their specialized combat roles and proven abilities made them the natural choices to lead the assaults. Yet, when it came time to select the squads for this critical simulation, the instructors found themselves in an unprecedented quandary. How could they overlook the human cadet whose performance had so thoroughly outshone his peers? Reluctantly, Vex and the other surgeons made the decision to place Jackson at the helm of one of the simulation squads, surrounded by a diverse group of alien cadets. The Crixan sergeant watched with a mixture of apprehension and anticipation as the exercise commenced, his talons gripping the observation deck railing in tense anticipation. From the moment the simulation began, it was clear that Jackson was operating on a level far beyond his squadmates. He moved with a fluid grace, his eyes scanning the virtual battlefield with laser-like focus, anticipating the enemy's movements and guiding his team with uncanny precision. The alien cadets, initially skeptical of the humans' leadership, found themselves quickly won over by Jackson's tactical brilliance. He seamlessly coordinated their individual strengths, exploiting the unique capabilities of each species to devastating effect. As the simulation reached its climax, Jackson's squad cut a swath through the virtual enemy defenses, neutralizing targets and securing critical objectives with a level of coordination that left the observing instructors in a state of stunned silence. Impossible. Sergeant Relia breathed, her eyes wide with a mixture of awe and disbelief. I've never seen such flawless execution, not even from my most seasoned teams. Beside her, Sergeant Vex nodded grimly, his reptilian gaze fixed on the unfolding events. This human cadet has redefined the limits of what is possible, he murmured, his voice tinged with a begrudging respect. He commands his squad with a level of tactical insight that surpasses even our best officers. As the simulation drew to a close, Jackson's team emerged victorious, their performance shattering all previous records. The human cadet stood tall, his expression one of quiet determination, while his alien squadmates looked on in a mixture of admiration and wonder. In the aftermath of the exercise, the Academy's instructors found themselves grappling with a profound realization. Jackson's leadership had not only secured the mission's success, but it had also exposed a glaring weakness in their traditional training methods. For generations, the Galactic fleet had relied on the specialization of its core species, each contributing their unique skills and capabilities to the overall war effort. But Jackson's performance had shattered that paradigm, demonstrating the power of adaptability and the value of a more holistic approach to combat training. "We have been blind," Sergeant Relia admitted, her voice tinged with a rare hint of self-doubt. "Our reliance on rigid specialization has blinded us to the true potential of the individual. This human cadet has shown us a new path forward." Vex and the other instructors nodded in silent agreement, their minds racing to comprehend the full implications of Jackson's triumph. If a single Terran cadet could so effortlessly lead a diverse squad to victory, what might an entire battalion of such individuals be capable of? The answer, they realized, could forever change the balance of power within the Galactic fleet and the very fabric of the known galaxy. As Jackson neared the end of his training, the Academy's administration faced a conundrum. The human cadet had shattered every record and expectation, leaving them unsure of how to proceed. His performance had redefined the limits of what was possible, and they knew they could no longer treat him as a typical recruit. Whispers of Jackson's exploits had reached the highest echelons of the Galactic fleet, sparking a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. The Admiralty, a council of the most seasoned and respected officers, found themselves grappling with a profound dilemma. On one hand, Jackson's abilities were undeniable. His leadership, tactical acumen, and sheer physical prowess were unlike anything they had ever witnessed. The prospect of having such a remarkable individual in the Galactic fleet's ranks was enticing, a potential game-changer in the ever-shifting balance of power across the galaxy. Yet the Admiralty could not ignore the unsettling implications of Jackson's existence. If a single human cadet could so effortlessly surpass the capabilities of his alien peers, What did that mean for the carefully orchestrated hierarchy that had underpinned the galactic fleet for generations? For decades, the core species, the Vosians, Relantians, and Crixans, had formed the backbone of the galactic fleet's forces, their specialized roles and capabilities meticulously cultivated and preserved. The notion that a Terran, a species long regarded as a backwater among the civilized worlds, could so thoroughly eclipse their achievements was a troubling prospect indeed. Admiral Xylera, a seasoned Vosian officer with an impeccable service record, found herself caught in the midst of this ethical quandary. As the head of the Academy's governing board, she had overseen the training of countless cadets, each of them groomed to fill a specific role within the galactic fleet's complex structure. Now, faced with the reality of Jackson's exceptional performance, Xylera found herself grappling with a difficult decision. Should the Academy fast-track the human cadet's graduation, granting him a commission and thrusting him into the heart of the galactic fleet's operations? Or should they find a way to temper his abilities, to prevent the disruption of the delicate balance they had so carefully maintained? The Admiral's peers, a mix of seasoned officers from the core species, were equally divided on the matter. Some argued passionately for embracing Jackson's potential, seeing him as a catalyst for a much-needed shift in the galactic fleet's strategies. Others, however, warned of the risks of upending the established order, cautioning that the human cadet's very existence could sow the seeds of discord and instability. As the debate raged on, Jackson remained oblivious to the turmoil he had unwittingly sparked. The human cadet continued to excel in his training, driven by an unwavering determination that seemed impervious to the growing tensions surrounding him. "This human is a threat," Admiral Xylera murmured, her brow furrowed in deep contemplation. "His abilities pose a fundamental challenge to the very foundations of the galactic fleet. We cannot afford to ignore the implications of his existence." With a resolute nod, the Vosian admiral summoned her fellow officers, her expression grave. The time had come to make a decision that would echo through the corridors of power, shaping the future of the galactic fleet and the balance of power across the known galaxy. "Gentlemen," Xylera began, her voice measured and authoritative, "we must act, and we must act now. The fate of the galactic fleet rests upon our decision regarding the human cadet, Jackson Cade." In a bold move, the Academy's leadership, guided by the Admiralty's decision, decided to fast-track Jackson's graduation, recognizing his unparalleled potential. The young cadet, now a commissioned officer, found himself thrust into the heart of the galactic fleet's most critical operations, tasked with leading elite teams on high-risk missions. As the news of Jackson's accelerated promotion spread through the Academy, a palpable sense of excitement and trepidation rippled through the ranks of the cadets and instructors. Some looked upon the human with a renewed sense of awe and admiration, while others eyed him with undisguised envy and suspicion. Sergeant Vex, the grizzled Crixan veteran, watched the proceedings with a mixture of grudging respect and lingering unease. Though he had been among the most vocal proponents of Jackson's advancement, the Crixan sergeant could not ignore the profound implications of this decision. "The Admiralty has taken a grave risk," Vex murmured to Sergeant Rilia, his reptilian gaze fixed on the young human officer as he received his commission. "If this Terran cadet falters, the consequences could be catastrophic." Relia nodded in solemn agreement, her own reservations about Jackson's abilities still unresolved. "And if he succeeds," she whispered, her voice tinged with a hint of foreboding. "What then?" The two seasoned instructors fell silent, their minds racing with the implications of the decision they had reluctantly endorsed. For decades, they had dedicated their lives to molding the galactic fleet's elite, adhering to a rigid hierarchy that placed their own species at the forefront of the military's hierarchy. Now, with the ascension of a human cadet to the ranks of commissioned officer, that carefully constructed order was being challenged in ways they could scarcely comprehend. As Jackson stepped forward to receive his insignia, a hush fell over the assembled crowd. The young human officer's expression was one of unwavering determination, his posture exuding a quiet confidence that belied his relative inexperience. "Cadet Jackson Cade," intoned Admiral Tylera, her voice resonating with a blend of reverence and trepidation. "For your exceptional performance and unparalleled abilities, the Galactic Fleet awards you the rank of lieutenant, with all the rights and responsibilities that come with such a distinction." A smattering of polite applause rippled through the audience, but Jackson remained stoic, his gaze fixed firmly on the Admiral. He understood the gravity of this moment, the weight of the expectations that now rested squarely upon his shoulders. As the ceremony concluded, Jackson found himself ushered into the inner sanctum of the Galactic Fleet's command structure, his new duties and responsibilities laid out before him. He would be leading a hand-picked squad of elite operatives on missions of the utmost importance, tasked with securing vital intelligence, neutralizing high-value targets, and spearheading crucial assaults. The young officer understood that his success or failure in these endeavors would shape not only his own future, but the very course of the Galactic Fleet's ongoing campaigns against its most formidable adversaries. The weight of this burden was not lost on him, and he steeled himself for the challenges that lay ahead. In the shadows of the Academy's training grounds, Sergeant Vex and Sergeant Raelia observed Jackson's departure, their expressions inscrutably neutral. They had seen the human cadet's meteoric rise, and they knew that the true test of his abilities had only just begun. "The future of the Galactic Fleet rests on his shoulders," Vex murmured, his talons drumming thoughtfully against his arm. "If he succeeds, we may witness a shift in the very balance of power. But if he fails..." The Crixan sergeant let the implication hang in the air, his gaze darkening with a sense of foreboding. For in the end, the fate of the entire galaxy could hinge on the performance of this single human officer, a reality that filled even the most seasoned of instructors with a deep sense of unease. Jackson's exploits on the battlefield soon became the stuff of legend. His ability to overcome seemingly insurmountable odds, coupled with his unwavering courage and tactical brilliance, made him a hero among his peers and a source of pride for his human homeworld. As the young officer was thrust into the heart of the Galactic Fleet's most critical operations, he quickly distinguished himself as an indispensable asset. His squad, a diverse team of elite operatives handpicked from across the known species, functioned with a level of cohesion and coordination that left their rivals and adversaries reeling. In mission after mission, Jackson demonstrated his exceptional leadership, guiding his team through treacherous environments and high-stakes confrontations with a steady hand and an unwavering strategic acumen. His ability to anticipate the enemy's movements, adapt to changing circumstances, and leverage the unique strengths of his squad members became the stuff of legend. As news of Jackson's exploits spread, a wave of awe and admiration swept through the ranks of the Galactic Fleet. Soldiers and officers alike marveled at the young human's feats, recounting tales of his daring rescues, decisive victories, and narrow escapes with a sense of reverence. Even the most seasoned veterans of the Galactic Fleet found themselves captivated by Jackson's accomplishments. Admirals and generals who had once viewed the human cadet with a mixture of skepticism and trepidation now looked upon him with newfound respect, recognizing the profound impact his presence was having on the tide of the ongoing conflicts. "That Terran officer is worth a dozen of our best soldiers," growled Admiral Kraz, a grizzled Crixan strategist, during a high-level briefing. "His leadership and tactical brilliance have turned the tide of entire campaigns. We must leverage his abilities to the fullest if we hope to prevail." Jackson's superiors, recognizing the value he brought to the Galactic Fleet's operations, began to entrust him with increasingly sensitive and high-risk missions. The young officer navigated these challenges with unwavering composure, his skills and instincts honed to a razor's edge through the crucible of combat. As he carved a path of victory across the stars, Jackson's legend only continued to grow. Soldiers from across the Galactic Fleet, both human and alien, began to whisper of the Deathworlder Lieutenant, a moniker that spoke volumes of the awe and reverence in which he was held. On his homeworld of Terra, The news of Jackson's exploits spread like wildfire, igniting a surge of patriotic pride among the Terran populace. For a species long relegated to the periphery of the galactic community, the rise of one of their own to the ranks of the Galactic Fleet's elite was a testament to the limitless potential of humanity. Jackson's family, once unassuming citizens of a backwater world, found themselves thrust into the spotlight, their son's achievements celebrated with a fervor typically reserved for the heroes of old. They watched with a mixture of pride and disbelief as their son's name became synonymous with valor, skill, and unwavering dedication to the cause of the Galactic Fleet. As the months turned to years, Jackson's reputation only continued to grow, his exploits becoming the stuff of legend among both his allies and adversaries. He had not merely exceeded the expectations of his peers, he had redefined the very notion of what was possible for a member of the Terran species, shattering the preconceptions that had long defined their place in the galactic hierarchy. For the Galactic Fleet, Jackson's rise represented a transformative shift, a harbinger of a new era where the traditional boundaries of species-based specialization were being irrevocably blurred. The once skeptical alien surgeons who had once doubted him now looked upon the human officer with a mixture of respect, envy, and a growing sense of unease. The true impact of Jackson's ascension, they realized, had only just begun to unfold, and the reverberations would be felt across the known galaxy. As Jackson's reputation grew, the once skeptical alien surgeons who had once doubted him now looked upon him with newfound respect and admiration. They had witnessed the true power of the human spirit, a force to be reckoned with in the vast expanse of the Galactic Fleet. Sergeant Vex, the grizzled Crixan veteran, found himself begrudgingly impressed by the young human officer's exploits. He had watched Jackson's meteoric rise with a mixture of unease and fascination, his own preconceptions about the Terran species being systematically shattered. "This Deathworlder," Vex murmured to Sergeant Relia during a private conversation, "has redefined the limits of what I thought possible. His skills, his leadership, his unwavering determination, they are unlike anything I have ever witnessed." Relia, the stern Vosian instructor, nodded in silent agreement. She, too, had been forced to reevaluate her long-held beliefs about the Terran species and their place within the Galactic Fleet's hierarchy. "I once doubted his abilities," she admitted, her voice tinged with a rare hint of humility. "I believed that the core species, those of us who had devoted generations to the service of the fleet, were inherently superior. But Jackson has proven me wrong, time and time again." The two seasoned surgeons fell silent, their minds racing with the implications of Jackson's success. For years, they had clung to the notion that the Galactic Fleet's strength lay in the carefully cultivated specializations of its constituent species. Now, a single human officer had shattered that paradigm, demonstrating the power of adaptability and the value of a more holistic approach to combat. "If Jackson's story has taught us anything," Vex mused, his reptilian gaze fixed on the distant horizon, "it is that we have been blind to the true potential of the individual. Our reliance on rigid specialization has blinded us to the possibilities that lie beyond the confines of our own species." Relia nodded, her expression thoughtful. "The Admiralty must take heed of this lesson," she said, her voice tinged with a sense of urgency. "If they continue to cling to the old ways, they risk losing the very edge that has kept the Galactic Fleet dominant for generations." As the two surgeons contemplated the far-reaching implications of Jackson's success, the young human officer himself found his reputation reaching unprecedented heights. His feats of valor, his unwavering leadership, and his ability to forge cohesive, high-performing teams had become the stuff of legend throughout the Galactic Fleet. From the farthest reaches of the known galaxy, soldiers and officers alike sang Jackson's praises, hailing him as a paragon of the Galactic Fleet's ideals. His name had become synonymous with victory, his very presence on the battlefield a rallying cry for his comrades and a source of dread for his adversaries. Yet, even amidst this adulation, Jackson remained humble and focused, Driven by an innate sense of duty and a deep-rooted desire to protect the Galactic Fleet and the countless lives that depended upon it. He understood that his success was not merely a personal triumph, but a testament to the limitless potential of the Terran species, a realization that sent shockwaves through the established order. As the Admiralty and the higher echelons of the Galactic Fleet grappled with the ramifications of Jackson's ascension, the young human officer continued to lead his elite squad on missions of ever-increasing importance and danger. His unwavering courage, tactical brilliance, and ability to inspire those around him became the stuff of legend, cementing his status as a true hero of the Galactic Fleet. For Sergeant Vex, Sergeant Raylia, and their fellow instructors, Jackson's story had become a profound lesson in the dangers of complacency and the power of the human spirit. They had witnessed the transformation of a single Terran cadet into a force to be reckoned with, a harbinger of a new era where the traditional boundaries of species-based specialization would be forever challenged. As they stood on the training grounds, watching the next generation of cadets strive to emulate Jackson's example, the once skeptical surgeons knew that the future of the Galactic Fleet had been irrevocably altered. The Deathworlder Cadet had not merely shattered their expectations. He had redefined the very limits of what was possible, paving the way for a new chapter in the annals of the Galactic Fleet.